Okay, so I guess we are live now. Let me quickly check. Okay, so before we start, can anybody confirm in the comment section, am I audible properly? And the audio, video, everything is perfect? Can anybody confirm in the comment section? Okay, so we'll wait for 2 minutes, let other people join, and then we'll start. So we have a special guest. He will be joining us soon. In the meanwhile, we can start. We can have some chit chat. If you have any questions, we can quickly discuss. So Ankit says yes. Hi Ankit, thank you so much for the confirmation. Okay, so yes, we also have Sanjay selectors up. Hi Sanjay, thanks for joining. Okay, we also have Naveen Automation Labs. Hi Naveen. Hi Lex. Okay, so we have Artem also now. So yeah, everything is fine. We can quickly start. So before we start, how many of you have explored TestRigor? And let me ask in a different way. How many of you are completely new to TestRigor? Okay, so hi Pramod. Hi Mohammed. Okay. Okay, so many people are waiting for Artem, so maybe I will quickly invite him. Hey, hi Artem.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy here.
Yeah. So we have some existing users of TestRigor. So Ravi is using, Adit is using, and many other folks are using. Okay, so before we start, just want to quickly check with all of you. How many of you are aware of generative AI? I know it's a new topic for most of the folks, so I thought I will quickly check because today's topic is all about generative AI with TestRigor. So before we talk about the tool and the features, just want to quickly check how many of you are even have used ChatGPT. I know many people are using it just for copy paste, but it can be a great help if you use productively. So we are going to extend a little further, and we will be talking about generative AI with TestRigor. Okay, not much. No problem, Amit. I hope after this session you will get some idea. So yeah, Atom, we can start because many people are waiting for this webinar. So if you want to
Yeah,
quickly explore about first what is generative AI, then maybe you can talk about generative AI with TestRigor.
yes. So, generative AI is basically use of new machine learning models, which recently popped out. We call LLMs, large language models. It's an advancement in AI, and those models are pre-trained on being able to understand what humans are saying. And in like you have seen the examples of that ChatGPT or GitHub Copilot. Both of those use generative AI to generate some code. However, in various case, if you had the chance to work with those, you know that what we generate are examples, and there is no way basically to figure out for those systems if this is something which is applicable in your case. In of TestRigor, we use those large language models differently. We use them not for generational, where we do have parts where we do use generative AI for generating tests, but also for execution, which is very different. So basically, what it comes down to is we can execute your plain English sentences.
Okay. So Artem, I guess there's some audio issue from your end. There's some noise, and plus it's coming twice every sentence. Is that only me or for others as well? I think that's
Is it better now?
yes. Now it's better.
Okay, perfect. Yep. So I guess let me talk a little bit about why we started doing it, how does it work, and how it can be helpful in your particular case. Thank you guys for letting me know about the audio. And
So guys, feel free to ask any question because you are directly getting a chance to talk to a CEO. And so Artem have the deep knowledge about the tool, and it's very good that we are directly able to talk to the founder. And Artem will also talk about the future enhancement. And if you have any questions related to this session or regarding the tool or anything, feel free to ask. Yeah, Artem, stage is all yours.
sounds good.
Yeah.
So basically, let me first explain a little bit how it works from our side and how we came up with this, and then I'll talk a little bit about why did we do that, and then I'll show you some demo and explain some use cases for generative AI.
Yeah.
Well, overall, high level, basically, generative AI, you should look at it as generative AI is just yet another technology. If it can help you to become more productive, do more faster, spend less time on things which you don't want to do, like perfect. This is then you should definitely give it a try. From high level perspective, how TestRigor works is TestRigor traditionally had been this very specific language where you could specify commands like click, enter, generate some data, drag and drop, and so on and so forth. And TestRigor works for web, mobile, and native desktop applications, well, including, of course, APIs, database access to factor application, and so on and so forth. So that language is shared, but it's very, very specific. TestRigor would parse that language and execute some time ago. Then this year, on top of that language, we came up with a way to specify instructions in pure free-flowing English in the way you express it, not following any kind of structure. And on much higher level, you could say pretty high level stuff. I'll show you in a second. And now it's just even less amount of work and more stability. So why did we do it exactly? So both of those levels are designed to basically combat for test stability. So the problem with maintenance, and a lot of maintenance, which usually happens when people write a lot of automated tests, is because of two things. Mostly, it is, there are, of course, multiple levels why tests could be unstable. But what requires maintenance is usually mostly changes in locators. So this is the main problem TestRigor solves. So TestRigor does not rely on any locators. You can basically express from end user's perspective how to deal with elements, and TestRigor will do that. So on top of it, what LLMs and this high-level plain English would allow you to do is it will allow you to even abstract away from changes in the UI. Literally, as soon as you as a human can execute that specification or prompt, so whatever you give AI is called prompt. As soon as that is true, AI most probably would be able to figure things out for you as soon as it is kind of common sense to do. Of course, like if it's a breaking change, you might need to still attend to it and update it. And I'll walk you through how exactly do it. But point being is in a lot of cases, it will help you to abstract away from spending time on constantly updating chain tests, even if UI tangibly changes. Anyway, so without further ado, let me share my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, hopefully you can see my screen now.
Yeah.
So I will show an example on Best Buy. Best Buy is a huge chain of stores in the United States. They sell electronics and appliances. However, we also apparently have relatively successful e-commerce. It's pretty large, and they don't block us, so I can show them. Right. So usually when you're creating, that's it, what you would do, you would provide the URL where if it's a web testing, of course. If it's mobile, you upload an application, or for Windows native, you would specify access to remote desktop. You would provide username and password. It's a browser for the web, and it can you can start from generating some tests. In a lot of cases, it might not be relevant because you probably already have thousands of test cases documented, so might not need it. But in cases if you start a new project, it might be helpful. You can give a description. This is an e-commerce website selling electronics like Kindle. So to be as clear as possible. Of course, you would probably have, if Best Buy people were to give a description to their own website, I'm sure we will be able to give it much better description than I could here. But let's create a test suite, and because we are requesting to generate test cases, this is what AI will do for you. And this is direct use and kind of classical use of generative AI, where generative AI would generate something for you. In this particular case, as you can see, like you will, it suggested different test cases, right? So let's update it to give it a little bit more specifics on how exactly it should get to this Kindle. because when you're dealing with AI, you have to be pretty specific. But as we can see, it suggested different test cases. And then when you click this button, generate the test, it will get those descriptions and it'll build tests for you automatically. Let's give it a second.
So Artem, since we have not given any browser, any OS or any other details, so by default, what platform, what browser it will take?
So TestRigor directly supports multiple browsers on OSs like Ubuntu, Windows, and Mac. However, we just support latest versions of these OSs, like latest Safari, latest Edge, latest Chrome, and so on and so forth. However, we also partner with out of the box with Lambda test, and we can allow you to run basically 6,000 combinations of browsers, OS versions, browser versions through Lambda test, which
Okay.
is available on paid version. Or you can connect your account.
Great. So guys, if we ask you to automate this complete application from the scratch, you have to do multiple things, right? First, you have to understand what this application is all about, identify the happy flow scenarios, then you will write the manual test cases. And if you have to automate again, you will be deciding which tool to use. Okay, then again, if you're comfortable with the tool, then you will start automation. Again, you will do execution. You will also run multiple times just to see the scripts is stable or not, and then you will consume. But here, within few clicks, with the help of generative AI with TestRigor, we just added the application URL. We also mentioned how many tests you want to generate from AI. We selected 5. If you select 10 or maybe 15, then based on the number of scenarios that you want to generate, it will generate the test and it will also execute. So if you see in terms of time, it saves a lot of time. And once you see the complete demo, you will understand in terms of maintenance also, it will save a lot of time. So it created these 5 test cases: search, find, apply, code, proceed, submit, order. And once the test will execute, you will see the complete execution. Artem, did I miss any point or?
No, sorry about that. Looks like I hit moment when we were doing redeployment. Never mind. All right. So let's do something more interesting and create a test case. Let's link to cart. So we want to validate that we can find product added to cart and it is successful. So let's do exactly that. So like we finding and selecting Kindle, then shopping cart. See it, the cart. And then let's do validation, check page contains Kindle. Anyway, so here basically we have 2 types of inputs for TestRigor. So there are kind of generic free-flowing English and with no particular format. It's prompts to AI, and there is a command which specific command that TestRigor executes out of the box. So if you click add and run, as you can see here, there are like TestRigor doesn't know this, it doesn't recognize this as commands, so it suggests to use basically AI to be able to process those, or you can replace with the already existing rule, and so on. And we say, yeah, let's do that. And basically, what's going on here is, as you can see, TestRigor already picked up the task. It starts the OS, which we specified. As you remember, we specified Ubuntu when we're creating this test suite. Then it starts the browser. This browser is Chrome. Load the page, landing page, which we specified again. When we created this test suite, it was bestbuy.com. Then it would wait until page loaded, and then it would proceed. So the starting point, all of these things are done, and then it will start executing the instructions. So you do not have to start from a like open URL or anything like that. So it will always start from your landing URL. Mind you, there is a command to open URL if you not need to do it, and there is a way to override the URL in your CI/CD when you trigger tests. So there is definitely no problem with that. So now let's look into what AI was doing in this particular case. So for find and select Kindle, he basically decided to enter the Kindle into top search on the top to find a list of Kindles, and then it proceeded to selecting a specific Kindle.
Okay.
I get figured out, okay, so this is something specific, more specific than generic one, so I'll go for that. So it did. So it ran into Kindle page, and here it would need to add it to cart, right? And as you can see, when it loads the page at 1080p resolution, there's no add to cart button here. So however, it figured out to scroll down, and add to cart is a little bit below the scroll. And it got on this page. And here for proceed to shopping cart, it figured out to go to cart, even though proceed would be a synonym with continue. But because it was saying continue shopping and this go to cart, it correctly figured out that you need to go to cart instead of continue shopping. And it got to shopping cart page, and then we executed the validation to validate that Kindle is indeed present in the cart. So basically, like this is how it works. So of course, when you're executing AI, there's slight tiny overhead which you add on top of the execution. It will be marginally slower, maybe 20% compared to regular execution, which you can do like in tens of seconds in this particular case. But here we limited by how quickly UI moves for Best Buy, because Best Buy is pretty slow. If you try to do it manually, as you can see, you have to wait for some time. You click on it, there's a pretty good amount of wait until everything actually loaded and the page stops stop changing. In your particular case, it might be significantly faster if you're dealing with much simpler UI than Best Buy. Anyway, so let's get into stuff, different stuff. For example, what do you do if it didn't do whatever you expected, right? For example, you say finance select a Kindle and did something which you didn't want. This is like not exactly what you want. So there are a couple of things where try to get a little bit lower level because AI might not be able to figure out from high level exactly what you need. Your UI might become too complex for it. However, so you can break it down into smaller pieces. In this case, you can break down, find, and picking a Kindle, or you can like continue to do so-called prompt engineering, meaning that updating the prompt in order to be able to do whatever you expect. So, for example, let me give you an example. We can finance select 32 gigabyte Kindle. And then, as you can see, it doesn't know what it is. Let's use AI. Okay, so why does it say empty AI rule created? So let's go while it is executing, let's go into what we call reusable rules. So TestRigor calls functions reusable rules. There is a reason for that. I'm not going to get into here. But point being, you can think of reusable rules as functions. And if you go into those reusable rules tab, then you see all of those functions. And as you can see, they are empty in a sense because we do not have steps associated with them. They just have a checkbox saying this is AI-based rule.
Correct.
So now the second way to help help to fix that rule, to make it work, right? If you try different things with a prompt, none of the prompt worked as you would expect, you kind of out of options, no problem. You can go to reusable rules, uncheck these AI-based rules, and it will pull up steps from last successful execution. And basically, you can literally just update the steps. Right. For example, here you can say anything containing fine is fine, and we need any kind of Kindle Paperwhite, and it doesn't matter which one. But it has to be Kindle Paperwhite. It shouldn't be any other kind of Kindle because Kindles are
Okay.
there are different types of Kindles. So then you can save it, and now this is just a regular rule from TestRigor's perspective and not AI-based rule. Right.
So basically, we can go to any test, any steps, and we can customize according to our requirement. Whether it's a do we need AI rule or not, we can customize this.
Yes. So basically, as you can see, when we set like 32 gigabyte, and it started right away, switching for 32 gigabytes and do that. As you can see here, like it didn't do the right thing. So I found that there is something else in there saying add to cart and click add to cart. This is the point where you might fine tune the prompt, or you might fix the steps specifically in there. So it rushed a little bit. Like it skipped it skipped a part here. So it skipped selection part. So it did define, but it didn't do the selection. It just proceeded there, and you can see, you can basically fix it later on, or you can break it down into 2 commands and so on and so forth. So like there are multiple ways how you can deal with with like things where we're not working. Apologies, like my UI here is lagging a little bit.
Yeah, no problem.
Because I'm sharing my screen. Become slow. Anyway, so the last, I guess, advantage on top of basically significantly improved stability is that since now you can enter any steps into TestRigor here, what you can do is you can literally copy paste your manual test cases and then just start execution. There is a really good chance that you would need to fine tune them and make them basically execute, right? So you can probably do some prompt adjustments or maybe fix the steps and so on and so forth. But it probably still would be orders of magnitude less effort compared to just writing the test from scratch. So this is one, and second, we are coming up with import capability. We will be able to import the we will be able to import test cases from TestRail, Zephyr, and X-Ray. Stay tuned. You can start playing with TestRigor, and once it is available, we'll notify everyone. And of course, as usual, you can use TestRigor for free for your personal training. So if you go to sign up, so there are 2 options. You can do out of the box. You can start a regular free trial, and we have significantly less expensive options for smaller companies. But you can kick it off, try it out. It will be private trial, visible only for you, and then you can contact sales to get a discount. And you can use Mukesh webinar as a discount code. Say, hey, like my discount code is Mukesh webinar, and you will get yourself a significant discount. Or you can use it completely for free forever, but then everything you have there would be open sourced and used for machine learning training, potentially. So basically, for open source version, it is free unlimited. There is a limited also on infrastructure you could use. There is no max, for example, there. But it is free forever. There is no limitations. There's always unlimited users, unlimited test cases, and mainly unlimited basically usage for you. You can use as much as possible.
So guys, I hope you understood the main point here, how TestRigor is helping you to automate the application, not only single test but multiple tests. So let me give a quick recap. So what we did, we helped, we took help of TestRigor to generate the test using generative AI, where you have to provide the app description, which will generate the test for you. It will generate the test steps for you in plain English. In case if you have to customize, modify, or you want to make any existing changes, you can do the changes in plain English. So when it comes to modifying, again, you have two options. Either you can rules created by AIs, or you can create your own rule and you can execute. So we discussed the two scenarios. One is just provide the app URL and automate complete application. Or if you want to add any custom test, you can create test case and again generate the sample steps using uh, AI, and you can modify in case if you want to modify any steps. Now, those who have not tried, I would highly recommend to give a try. As Artem mentioned, we have multiple options. So one is the free option, which is free forever. So take the advantage of tool and see how it is helping you in your automation process. Are you able to reduce the execution time? Are you able to reduce the complete uh, writing the test, right? Because writing the test is one part, execution is another part, maintenance is another part. So TestRigor is playing part in all the three areas, and you will see a drastic change when it comes to ROI. So Artem have shared multiple use cases and success stories on TestRigor, where how TestRigor helped existing client to save huge amount of time, and they have reduced the execution time drastically. So it's a Q&A time. If you have any questions, guys, feel free to ask in the chat section. We will be picking all these questions and we'll try our best to answer them. Artem, do you have anything to share, or should I pick the questions from the chat?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so first question from Amit Kumar. Does it have defect prediction feature of AI?
Uh, I'm sorry, I'm not completely sure what's meant there.
Okay, so
Like,
basically, what I think what Amit wants to ask, suppose uh, there is some defect or bug in the application. Is there any way that AI can predict this? I don't think this feature is available, but maybe Artem, you can share your points on this.
yes, well, any QA automation is a defect prediction feature because running automated tests helps you to predict if this uh, if the code have a bug or it doesn't have a bug. Not only predict, but it also tell you for sure if it has or hasn't a bug.
So when it comes to prediction, so Amit, see, there are two kind of bugs. One is your regression bugs, right? So when it comes to automation, automation can easily detect the regression bugs. But let's say there's some exploratory bug is coming, okay, which is not yet found. So with the help of AI, you can go with the scenarios which is easily, or I will say easy to predict. So it will generate the possible test cases, test steps, and scenarios for you, and it will check whether it's working for you or not. So another question from
Yes.
Sharath.
So to clarify, at this point, TestRigor is a regression testing system. So it's mostly for regression for the test cases that already exist.
Yeah. So another question from Sharath. We have some scenarios like file upload in another server. As of now, we are achieving this step in Java. How we need to do this scenario in TestRigor?
Can you please repeat the question?
Okay, so Sharath says we have some scenarios where we need to upload a file in another server. As of now, we are using this using Java. We are achieving this using Java. Is there any way we can do this in TestRigor?
Yes, absolutely. So if you go to documentation, click documentation link here, and you can search for upload. So there is uploading files there section, and there is multiple ways to upload files. You can directly upload the file. You can use drag and drop for upload. You can use multi-upload. You can upload folders. And on top of that, there is a way to deal with templates. For example, you want to upload a file with a specific data, or let's say a file with a different data and a different file every single time. Like there is a way to do that with file templates, and which will substitute. The way it works is that it will get the template. You can upload it in test data. It will substitute the data there with whatever you have, and then it will upload it. So all kinds of stuff you can think of, it is very out of the box.
Okay. So Sharad, upload file feature is available. You can explore whether you want to upload to a server or to a web application or even with the mobile devices, and let me know if you face an issue. So most of the things are mentioned in the documentation. So if you come across any issue while dealing this, let us know. And just to clarify, guys, we have taken example of web automation, but TestRigor supports API automation, mobile automation, and recently they also started desktop automation. You can do email validations and bunch of other features. The example that we took was from Best Buy, but you come up with any scenario in this category, and TestRigor can automate this in a few clicks.
Oh, I can see there's next question.
Yeah. So question from Arun. Can we show the report of execution? Do we add any details of failed scenarios?
Basically, there are several reporting capabilities there. If you see the last run, you can see errors and there is reports. Before I go there, let me add a label here saying card. And then if I go to reports, you can see like diagrams. It will be per browser, per OS, like different labels, and you can see reports by labels and see what is the status by label. In this particular case, we just have one label and it's all succeeded, but overall, you can have the like any number of those. On top of it, there is also unique issues in here. So let us add a bug in our test case. So it will fail. I have to click something that doesn't exist. And you will see how to deal with failures. Also, you can open a tab like this is, it will show last execution. This is link for specifically last execution. And as you can see here, there are screenshots with the steps. And you can download these reports with a screenshot in the web or PDF format. This is exceptionally helpful if you're doing validations where you need to be 21 CFR Part 11 compliant. If you don't know what it is, it probably does not apply in your case. If you do know what it is, then you can just download Word or PDF documents in the format which is helpful for compliance, because it will help have screenshots with the description of every step. And yes, if it's a Word, of course, you'll be able to modify the results. And we're coming up with more ways of downloading modifiable reports in Word format and other places as well.
Okay. So then as you can see, there's a detailed way. So it automatically generates the steps wise a screenshot and generates in Word and PDF format. So the next question, Artem, is from the same category. We have a question from Amit Kumar. Can we integrate any third-party reporting tool like Extend Report, Allure Report if required?
Well, in a sense, so where I go is it failed, and now if you go to failures, you can see the issue, where are steps to reproduce, and you can share the URL within your company, because usually we would where is the way to enable single sign-on, so anybody from your company can log in and see the report. Sorry, like I got distracted. What was last question?
Yeah. Any integration possible with the third-party library like we have for the reporting, Extend Report, Allure Report, and so on?
Got it. So let me, we do have a bunch of integrations you can use and use for specific reporting. So you can basically generate data. So when you integrate into your CI/CD, okay, drum roll, let's give it a second. Yeah, it's, when you go to CI/CD, it will basically return or some samples somewhere. Anyway, so it will return you JSON, and you can format it and pass it to Allure or whatever you'd like. In the settings here, as you can see, there is a section which says integrations, and you can integrate right now with TestRigor, Zephyr, like there's a lot of different versions of Zephyr in there. X-ray, report portal if you use that, and use their capabilities for reporting. So there's definitely a way to integrate with those, and direct Allure integration is coming up probably within the next couple months.
Okay. So Amit, as you can see, the reporting feature is by default enabled and it's a beautiful report generated. So we use Extend Report, Allure Report whenever you have to generate a chart-based report, right? You want to show graphs, you want to show a screenshot, that is by default coming with here. So that is mainly used whenever you have a pure code-based tool and then you want to integrate with third-party library. But as Arta mentioned, apart from this report, you can also integrate this so many different tools, Cypher, Apply tools, Jira, X-Ray Cloud, and you can run your test cases once the connection is done, right? So whether you want to update the results or you want to uh, pick certain test and execute, that is all possible here. So Artem, I can also see a load test run here. So TestRigor also perform the load testing, right?
Yes, so this is a feature only available to our paying customers. You can ask us to add that, but it's a little bit different compared to how people usually would do it. So it is complementary to load testing tool and will not replace your load testing. So usually what load testing tools do is they should obscene amount of API calls to your
Yeah.
server, and that is extremely trivial to do, and you can kick off thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of API requests from one server. In our case, we do, the way we do it is we kick off multiple servers, and but each server does executes your tests from end user's perspective in the browser. As you can imagine, it is far more expensive because you need to have server in order to be able to do it, because we run real browser and emulate how a user would do it. Uh, uh, However, the advantage of it is that you will get data from regressions, how your AI is regressing under load. The downside of it is that currently, in order to get higher load, you want to pair it with other load testing tools, which do it on API level, so that you get a large load, and at the same time, we'll try to do things in the UI and see how things are working for user.
Okay. Perfect. Sharad, I have another question with respect to reading and writing Excel with TestRigor.
Yes, TestRigor supports all of that. Uh, Specifically, let me open the documentation. Where is it? Um, if you search for a file, contains basically there is a way for TestRigor to validate downloads. Right, let's say as a part of your end-to-end test, you are downloading the file, and then you want to validate the contents of that file, that it contains certain stuff and so on and so forth. For that purposes, TestRigor supports Microsoft formats like Word and Excel, in addition to standard ones like CSV, text files, and PDFs.
Okay. So I guess this question is about, let's say somebody don't want to hard code the data, they want to take the data from the Excel which is already available, not file download.
Oh,
In that
oh,
case,
I got it.
so okay,
Oh, okay, got it. So if we are talking about
test data.
test data, then it is possible to run the same test on a data set from CSV file, right? You can export your Excel as CSV. You can go to data set. Let's say, I don't know, countries. And then, like, if you go to rows, then there would be an option to upload CSV file, and it will work exactly as you would expect. It is very simple, similar to importing CSV file in, say, Google Docs or Microsoft Excel. So it will import the columns and I don't know, similar. And then you will be able to use that if you go back to your test case. There is a way to link data set. As you can see, there's just one. You can see a link. And now this data set is linked here.
So Sharad, basically you can parameterize. So whatever data you have, you can use the data set to parameterize.
Yeah, you can refer to those variables as stored values. And for stored value, let's say country, it will be clicking if there is a country column in your CSV. And basically what it will be doing, it will be it will be running as many tests as there are rows in your CSV file, well, except the header, of course. And for each of them, if there is like, let's assuming that this column is country, it will get the country, and then it will basically click on specific country in the beginning of each test. So we can go into details and can show you how exactly it's going to work, but
Yeah,
I think it's
no
more or less
problem, Artem.
self-explanatory.
I actually made a video on this. So maybe Sharad, if you go to my YouTube channel, so you will find a dedicated video on this, how to use data files in the TestRigor. And recently I published 3 hours of long video where you'll get to know in and out about TestRigor, the different features, and how you can get started with web automation, API, and mobile. So one quick question, Artem. Like suppose we want to test certain APIs and I want to use generative AI. So what are the things I need to provide? Because in API, I might have multiple endpoints and I might have multiple methods that I want to use: get, post, put, pass, delete, with different authentication and the different kind of validation. In that case, how this generative AI generate the rules steps for us?
Well, for APIs, like we don't have, TestRigor is helping with problems related to GUI testing. You can call
Okay.
APIs, and so my daughter is
No problem.
and yes. So basically, yeah, sorry about that.
No problem.
So basically, this is APIs, right? You can basically write specific instructions, pretty simple and straightforward, on how to execute API calls. There's all kinds of stuff is available. However, like APIs are undiscoverable. No AI would ever figure out what API you would want to do. So
Yeah.
this is it's just you would have to do it manually. TestRigor doesn't give you anything specific for APIs. Usually, our customers use API calls as a part of end-to-end tests, because sometimes you need to set something up. For API, you need to get some data for validations.
Yeah.
For API, it's all easily possible. However, as I mentioned, TestRigor is mostly for end-to-end testing through GUI.
Okay. Great. And what about the mobile? Can it, since you mentioned for the GUI, so can it generate the test for mobile applications?
Yes, absolutely. So it works for mobile exactly the same way as it will work for web. So I have a simplistic example in there. Let me search. Yeah, so basically, Exact same thing as you can see in this particular case. Well, this is trivialistic application. You just have basically 3 buttons on the whole thing. But using prompt to let AI figure out which buttons to click. In this case, there's not really much going on.
Got it. So basically,
And
based on the GUI, it will detect whether it's a web or mobile.
it will just work out of the box for on mobile, and you can do both in one test very easily. And this is an example. So basically, we loaded mobile application, then we switched to web, went to Zipcar website, did some clicks in there, something, then switched back, and then clicked on some buttons in there. So if you look into this, as you can see, it starts the browser and switches there, and it opens URL.
Perfect.
Does some click. This is the prompt again for search. It's switched back to mobile. Execute another prompt, and like this is some command in there for mobile. You can use the word tab. It doesn't matter. TestRigor understands the context and on the context. Even if you click, even though you call the tab click, it will still understand what you meant to tap.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. So Artem, I booked your slot from 8:30 to 9:30. Is it okay if we extend for next 2 minutes because two more questions, then we can end the session?
Yes, absolutely, please.
Okay. So one from Amit, one from Sarath. Sarath says, if we take premium plan, will you develop any specific feature based on our requirement after we take premium plan? If the test trigger not supported for some of my scenarios. So is this custom development or custom feature um, can be provided to a few customers based on the plan which they choose, or is it the standard which you provide for all the customers?
So TestRigor is a tool. We not a development company. We partner with a number of partners, like who can help you to build the tests themselves. However, if some feature is missing, we will definitely be willing to add missing feature to make sure you are unblocked. If something is not there, if that is what is meant here.
Okay, makes sense. So, Sharath, whatever I have explored so far, because I'm exploring and used TestRigor almost for 1.5 years now. I started last January 2022. So, whatever features you need, it can be done. Like whatever test you want to automate can be done with the features which already TestRigor provides. But in case if you think that something that you need and if can be added as a generic feature to all the customers, you can connect with Artem and see if that is feasible, if can be added.
Yeah, we definitely happy to help her.
Yeah. Okay, so last question, then we can end. How do we create payload for API testing using TestRigor? Does that automatically generate the request payload as well? So
So
basically,
we
it means he wants to make certain API calls, but before making the API calls, he wants to generate certain payload automatically.
yes, so you can pass parameters into the body, and there is an examples here. So this is an example of API call with multi-line body, and this is how we pass parameter like dynamic value inside the body. So definitely you can use generate the data and use it in a payload of an API call.
Okay, perfect. So Amit, basically you have to decide what values are changing for, what are the parameter which is dynamic that you can pass as a parameter. Because when you generate the dynamic payload, not every field you will be changing. There are few mandatory fields, few unique thing that you have to pass, that you can pass as a parameter and continue. Okay, so that's a very quick and very good presentation by Artem. So Artem, thank you so much for giving us the detailed view about TestRigor with generative AI. Guys, soon I will be coming with a dedicated tutorial where I will explain how to do step by step. So most probably next week or next to next week, I will come up with end-to-end tutorial on this. In case if you have any question related to this, feel free to reach out to me or Artem on LinkedIn, or just let us know in the comment section. We will try our best to uh, reply and support you in any manner.
Thank you everyone for coming, and I'm sure Mukesh will do much better job explaining these generative AI related features of TestRigor than I did. But if you have any questions or anything, don't hesitate to connect with me on LinkedIn or ask Mukesh, and I'm sure Mukesh will be able to help or connect with me as needed.
Yeah.
And thank you everyone for
Thank you so much, Artem.
listening.
Yeah. So, guys, feel free to connect, and looking forward. If in case if you need another session on the same topic or different topics from me or from Artem, let us know. We will try our best to come up with a new topic, and we'll try our best to present a complete end-to-end demo or webinar. Yeah. So once again, thank you everyone for joining, and thank you Artem for taking special time for this webinar. And I will see you in the next video.
Yep, my pleasure.
Thank you, Artem. Thanks
Thank you so
everyone.
much.
Bye bye. Thank you
Bye
so
bye.
much. Bye. So yes, we are done with the demo. Any more questions before we end? If you have the generic questions, you can ask in the next slide. So this was mainly for TestRigor with generative AI. Now, just a quick announcement again. On Saturday, we have RTP Chennai. In case if you have not registered, you can register. We have just few seats left. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much. And next Wednesday, I will be coming live again, and we'll discuss about general topics and any specific question that you have related to Selenium, Cypress, or related to test automation, career advice, anything we can take up in the next session. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Have a nice day. Bye bye.